Everybody, Eric Oberempt, Be Authentic or Get the Fuck Out. We are getting ready to sit down and do an episode with Rick Martinez. We're sitting here and Lexi and I were trying to figure out, let's do something fun before the episode. And I just went and took a piss and I walked by this crazy motherfucker that owns this nose slap the wake up stick. And I remember running into these guys at RoofCon and I was like, let's find out if Rick has fucked with the nose slap. So we're gonna find out if he has, and I'm gonna hand it off to my man here with nose slap.
Well, the question of the day is how much caffeine do you guys drink in a day?
Right now, I'm limiting to 1, maybe 2.
Okay, that's pretty good. And do you need more caffeine nowadays than you used to in the past to get the same effect?
No, I've been drinking more water. So
yeah, that's good.
Before in the past, like summers, I'd be chugging 3 or 4 a day.
Totally. And what about you? How's your caffeine? How much caffeine a day?
Enough.
Okay, he's keeping it in the secret. He doesn't want to admit. So we're going to see if nose slap can help with their caffeine addiction, okay? Now, it's a child-proof bottle, okay? So I'll watch you guys.
As it fucking should be.
Yeah. And you squeeze this on the lip where you see the lines there.
Yeah.
And then it's going to pop. Watch me. You're gonna pop
Got it.
Up. Okay, go and smell it. You can get closer.
Get it out.
Oh, this is ammonia. Nothing.
And he's
nothing.
Like nothing?
Like nothing. I used to powerlift and strongman.
Fuck you.
So this is what I would take before every lift.
Cocksucker. Like, that's not okay. Like, why am I crying and you're fucking not?
He's powerlifting, man.
I'm powerlifting, strongman. I'm just used to this shit.
God damn. Where are you from? What
California.
goddamn planet did you fucking get born on? All right,
so my partner's powerlifting, and he wanted to invent. They come in these big bottles. He wanted to invent one that we can sell at a gas station. But we've got tough guy here, Rick Martinez, experienced smelling salt connoisseur.
Fuck.
And this is we're called nose slap, but this is called soul slap. This is the world's strongest smelling salt. Okay.
Stronger than what's his name, Jijimitsu?
Absolutely.
Fuck.
Okay.
Let's fucking go.
Now this one's a little bit activated, so it might be losing a little strength, but tell me if it backs up what I just said. Give it a smell.
Get in there. Yes!
Oh, I'm awake. My eyes are watering now.
Yep.
Fuck.
Good. Now we won.
Yeah.
Now we won.
Shit.
And now we're ready to do an episode
we're ready.
of Be Authentic or Get the Fuck Out. Hey everybody, I'm Eric Oberempt and you're listening to Be Authentic or Get the Fuck Out. We talk about real shit, what's on our minds, and don't give a fuck if it makes you feel a little uncomfortable. So sit back, strap in, and get ready for some real shit. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Be Authentic or Get the Fuck Out. I'm your host, Eric Oberempt, checking in again at D2D-Con 6, and this episode is with a gentleman by the name of Rick Martinez. Rick, thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
These are always very interesting episodes because we got introduced by a mutual friend.
Yes.
And he said, I sent Brandon a text and was like, hey, no, it was Jake, right? It was Jake.
Yeah.
And I was like, Jake, who do I need to get to know at this event? And he's like, you need to talk to Rick Martinez. I'm like, why? And he's like, you just need to fucking talk to Rick Martinez. I'm like, all right, cool. So we ended up, we connected, we booked it, and I started doing a little bit of research that you sent me on your background and everything, and now I'm really excited to get to know you a little bit better.
Yeah.
We just got done, to let everybody know, doing this nose slap stick fucking thing.
Yeah.
Where you stick this shit under your nose. It's like smelling salts, basically, to kind of wake you up. And I mean, like, the little pussy one knocked my dick in the dirt, and homeboy over here fucking doesn't even affect him. And so then the guy that owns the place comes in with a goddamn, looks like a 55-gallon drum of some different shit, and that about put you on the floor.
Yeah, just about.
Like, that was intense.
Yep.
And you said that you did that when you were powerlifting?
Yes. So I grew up playing sports, right? Was always I got strong, and I learned how to get strong really fast.
Okay.
So about 5-6 years ago, I started doing more powerlifting and strongman competitions. And before every big lift, that's what we used to do. I didn't know why we did it, but everybody did it. And
I guess it makes sense.
Yeah.
Like you fucking
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
And if you're pulling, like when I did it, I would be pulling like 700 pounds on the deadlift.
Really?
I would be pushing fucking cars or lifting these massive fucking logs.
So like you're doing like strongman competitions?
Yeah, so I would do powerlifting and then strongman as well. So I would be training simultaneously.
How old are you?
I'm 30 years old.
How old were you when you're doing that?
I was about 25.
Okay. Man, that puts a toll on your body, doesn't it?
Yeah, my body hurts more.
When's the last
more
time
than
you did a deadlift?
Fuck, 4 years.
Okay, yeah.
4 years, yeah. It was the last time I failed an attempt at 700 pounds, and I was like, I went up and I just felt like my lower back just pinch and tighten up, and I said, "Fuck this, I'm done." I dropped the weight, and I'm like, So before that, I hit like a 630 PR, which was fine. But I felt I had 700 in the tank.
Yeah.
And at that point, I'm like, cool, I'm done. I'm never going to deadlift ever again. And to this day, I still don't deadlift.
Really? Not even light?
No, not even. If anything, it's more of like a weird bent over row to work on my back. But
sure,
I don't like to deadlift.
Gotcha. Cool. So anyway, I wanted to go through that because that's really interesting, and I'd never thought about doing something like that before I worked out. Because how long does that last? It's pretty short-lived, right?
It's short-lived. Like at most, if you have a really good like smelling salts, you're good for like 15, 20 seconds. But that's it. Yeah, that's it. But you have to take in mind like you're whiffing that, and if you eat up 5 to 10 seconds, you only have 10 seconds by the time you walk up, do your lift, and then it's gone.
I'll be go to hell. Yeah. Anyway, that was very interesting. Just kind of a fun little thing to do. So now you are a master recruiter, from what I'm told. You have is it an Instagram thing with the no soliciting, bro?
Yeah.
So tell me how that started.
So I was selling pest control. I started in sales, in solar sales, 2014. I got burned by the company who I started with, and then that was around 2017-ish, late. Okay. And my buddy who was selling pest control at the time, he's like, hey, I'm going to New York to go sell pest control. And I'm like New York? That's dope. Like, where at? He's like, Long Island. And I asked him, like, okay, how far is that from Manhattan?
You're going to go sell the mobsters.
Yeah. At the time, he was like, Long Island. I'm like, can I go to Manhattan? And he's like, yeah, you can take a train and go down there within an hour. I'm like, dope. Sign me up. Send me the paperwork. I had no idea what the hell I was going to sell. I just knew that I've always wanted to go to New York, and I had an opportunity to go. So
make money.
Fuck it, why not? Let's do it.
Yeah.
So I went out there. I went from working 4 hours a day selling solar to 8 to 12 hours a day selling fucking pest control.
Right.
Making fucking pennies compared to solar deals back then, right? That's a grind. So it was a grind, right? So I noticed that everybody else was going through that same grind, and everybody else was going through the same shit, right? At the time, I was a fanatic of memes. Memes just spoke to me, right? I have some personal problems like everybody in the world does, and I coped and I communicated via memes. Okay. So I started finding these door-to-door meme pages, and they were cool, but I was like, I can probably make better content. So that's how it was. It was simply just me saying I can make better content, and it was a way for me to have a creative outlet. Yes, a creative outlet for what I was going through on the doors. And what happened over the next few years is other people in the industry and in the nation go through that exact same shit. Yeah. So people started resonating with it. They would go in the comment section and they would see some kid on the opposite side of the country saying, I'm going through this right now too. And, really? And now, from there, you create a community. Right. So I created a community via memes. So now, almost every company that does door-to-door, any Utah company here knows who I am. I can't fly into Salt Lake Airport without somebody who does door-to-door saying, hey, Rick, what's up? No shit. Yes. That's super cool. I'm part of people's process to onboard. They're like, you need to sign this paperwork, you need to do this, here are companies' Instagrams or social media, and you need to follow Rick. Ah! No shit. Yep. So that they will kind of duplicate what you're doing. Yeah, in a sense, just be like, hey, look, this job is hard. This page. Oh, no. Oh, so it's to give them an outlet to understand that they're not alone. Yeah. Interesting. That's super cool. So everybody follow No Soliciting Bra, right? Yeah. And that's on Instagram. Yeah. And is it like a TikTok thing too? Or? Yeah, it is, but I don't do anything with I don't know how to use TikTok. I don't either. I'm like the boomers trying to use Instagram. I don't know how to fucking use TikTok. Right. Yeah, exactly. I totally understand that. So now you're down in Waco, Texas. Correct. And you're selling solar. Yes. A little bit, right? But also recruiting. Yeah. And so what is that? Talk to people about recruiting. We'll put recruiting in the title just because like
people love fucking learning about recruiting. We're not going to spend a lot of time, but like, what's your first pro tip that you'd give people on recruiting, regardless of the industry?
I would say have an internal dialogue with yourself and figure out, am I comfortable bringing people to the organization that that I'm currently with?
Got it.
And if the answer is no, you got to figure out what the fuck is wrong in your organization that makes you not want to bring people in.
Got it.
People want to focus more on recruiting to bring people in. They come in, and as you see, you've been probably doing roofing, you have a high turnover across the board. Why? Because there aren't systems and processes put in place to give people like a clear blueprint on what they need to do, what they can accomplish, and how they can accomplish that thing in X amount of time. Right? So because they don't have that.
So don't bring people on if you're not ready to fucking bring people on.
Exactly.
To say it bluntly.
Yep. If you can't bring people on, if you can't take over and kind of walk and hold their hand the entire process, someone in your organization has to.
Yep.
And if you don't feel comfortable handing over somebody, you probably shouldn't bring them in. So first focus on your company.
Build that first.
And then start bringing people in.
Because then you're going to be confident in bringing them in your conversation, just like being confident in what you're selling on the door, right? If you don't believe in what you're selling at the door, you're never going to sell it, right? Unless you're a fucking sociopath.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Right? And you shouldn't be selling anybody to come into your company if you're not feeling confident about your company.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome. So we spend a lot of time on these shows kind of digging into past a little bit to understand why people are the way that they are today, right? And I read in one of your notes in the section that you filled out was that you struggled throughout your life, or maybe still do now a little bit, with feelings of inadequacy.
Yeah.
And I mean, your words, not mine, right? I would like to know where that stems from and where we're at with that journey now. Yeah.
So to go back into my life, I grew up in an area of California that's pretty nice, right? But I grew up in a single wide. I went to church with pretty successful people. Right? So I always felt like I was always the poor kid that would show up, you know? So I always felt inadequate. I've always felt like I never fit in. I felt that way all throughout high school, all throughout college, in my mission. I never really fit in. Right? My brain is just wired differently. So, in a sense, the inadequacy comes from not being like other people. I guess you could call it being uncommon, right?
Okay.
Now so
your feeling of not being like other people, though, was because you were surrounded by quote unquote wealthy people, and you were still in that area, but were living in a single wide, so you felt like you didn't belong because of that.
Correct.
Is that right? Am I tracking?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Now, fast forward. Now, the feeling of inadequacy is cool. My biggest thing is I refuse to fall into the statistics of life. I should not be where I'm at right now, based off my upbringing. But I am here, so that means that I can change shit. Now that I've put myself in a situation where I'm around really successful people, and I can be as successful as them, I feel inadequate because I look at them and I'm like, I'm not there yet. So why do you think that you shouldn't have success because of your upbringing? What about your upbringing would insinuate that you shouldn't have?
Well, single mom, 6 kids. Come from a immigrant family, so I'm first generation American. As you hear, I'm stuttering. I grew up stuttering up until I was 17 years old.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So super unconfident, never really fit in. ADHD.
Where they immigrate from?
Mexico.
Okay.
So they immigrated from Mexico. It was hard enough to get anything done, hard enough to communicate with family. My mom was working 3 jobs at some points just to keep the lights on.
Right.
So.
But wouldn't you say that it isn't in spite of that?
Yeah.
Right? A lot of your success is probably because of that.
Yes. Most people,
right?
Yeah. Most people will just, because of their situation, they'll go into the woe is me.
Right.
And I
use it as an excuse.
Yeah, they use it as an excuse. Yeah. They go into dealing drugs, whatever it may be.
Right.
They end up in prison, right? I look at everybody else who I grew up with. They're not where I want to be. I'm where I want to be because I saw what happened, and I did not want that for my life.
Right.
So I just took charge.
You took charge. How did that affect the rest of your family? Did you bring them with you?
Yes, I work as hard as I can to take care of my family.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. Like my girlfriend, at first she didn't understand it, But now she just kind of...
What didn't she understand?
She didn't understand how I would put my family first.
Okay.
Like anything in my family's need, like if my siblings were ever, like my younger siblings were ever short on cash, right? Or my older sister who's a single mom with kids, if she ever needed anything, I wouldn't hesitate. I would be like...
Such a fine line with that too, though, right?
Yes, it is a fine...
Yeah, fuck.
It is a fine line. At first, it wasn't the best. Now, it is pretty good, right? Like if my sister ever calls me, she's like, hey, like her kid is going to Spain. She's like, can you help out? I'm like, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, what does she need? And then I asked, what her grades are at, right?
Yeah.
All the questions that I need to know, so it's not like being taken advantage of, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, now my family and I are in a position where there's communication, right? And it's not to take advantage of me, not to me make them feel bad or anything.
Right.
It's just we help each other out in any way that we can.
That's awesome. So today, with all of the different things that you do today, what is the one thing, whether it's a nonprofit, it's a kid thing, it's your work, it's your family, whatever it is, what is the one thing today that you are probably the most passionate about?
My thing is I am working towards creating a nonprofit that specifically for kids in a single parent household.
Okay.
The emphasis on first generation Americans.
Okay.
The thing is when you come from these different countries and your parents come to this country for the American dream, you still bring some of that culture with you.
For sure.
And it's a lot harder, right? Like these kids don't know how to tie ties. They have problems communicating properly.
Right.
Right?
I'm gonna fill you in a little secret. I don't know how to tie a tie either.
Really?
No.
Oh.
I don't fucking wear ties, so I refuse to.
Yeah.
But go on. Sorry.
So for me, like growing up LDS, right? Like I wore a tie every Sunday,
I didn't
right?
even think about that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So all these things, right? That they're just not taught, and it's like cool. Like, let me come into my program, come into where I have my nonprofit set up, and we'll work with these kids, right? We'll get them through school, help them, give them the tutoring that they need, but let them know that, hey, success is what you want to make of it, or whatever you want.
So have you built out like what the programming of that looks like so far? Or
Yes,
is it still just an idea?
I have a lot of kind of... So it's in my notebook. I have a lot of it kind of planned out.
Okay.
It just depends on how my life goes in the next few years, and then I'll just probably adjust a few things.
Got it. So at the end of the day, you want to figure out how to help 10-year-old Rick.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it is.
Right? Like, how the fuck do I help 10-year-old Rick so that 10-year-old Rick today doesn't have to go through the same shit that 10-year-old Rick did back then?
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's super powerful.
Yeah.
Right? So don't, I mean, I'm fucking nobody, but like, don't let anybody slow you the fuck down on that. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
Like, take that fucking notebook and start executing shit now that you can, so that when you are financially ready, you know, legally ready, all that kind of shit that you need to do, this is just my advice, is fucking own the shit out of that.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing, and you already know this, but like, that is the thing that's going to get you out of bed every fucking day.
Yeah.
Right? That's the thing that's going to get you out of bed when you know that you're moving forward in that direction because of the steps that you took yesterday.
Yeah.
And you're like, I can't waste today because of the work that I did yesterday on this, because there is some fucking kid out there that's going through exactly what I went through.
Yeah.
And if I fail them, then I fucking failed.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, don't fucking wait. This is what I heard. I heard it depends on how my life goes in a few years to see how this is going to play out.
Yeah.
And I know that that's not necessarily exactly how you meant it, but like, don't let that happen.
Yeah.
Because you and I both know what happens in a few years, because it didn't get started and it's still sitting in that notebook.
Yeah.
And I can tell that you're passionate about it. I'm passionate about it for you. Right?
Yeah.
Because that is what is going to fulfill the fuck out of you in your life. It's never going to be recruiting. It's never going to be selling solar. It's never going to be any of that stuff.
Yeah.
It's going to be that. And that's why I always ask that question, because I love it when somebody actually knows the answer to it.
Yeah.
Right? And you knew the fucking answer to it the minute I asked you that question. Do not let it sit in a notebook. Fucking, when you go home tomorrow, start figuring out what action steps for 2023 are. Like, I'm not trying to be your fucking dad, but like, I want this for you so bad because of how I can tell how passionate you are about it. Like, I don't know why I'm so fired up about it, but like, I get excited when other people have things that are going to help people.
Yeah.
Right? I get really fucking bored talking to people and listening to how they make money.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck how you make money.
Yeah.
I give a fuck what you do with that money after the fact and who you're helping with that money.
Yeah.
That's what I care about, right? So when I meet somebody that has this passion about something that they're going to do, I would be remiss if I didn't get in your ass to say, fucking own it, get it the fuck done, and figure out what those steps are for 23, and I'll be right fucking behind you with whatever you need in anything to help you accomplish that mission.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, please.
Will do.
Cool?
Yeah.
What's the name of it? Have you named it yet?
I haven't figured out a name. I haven't figured out a name, but I have a lot of things figured out. I have some... Part of it is having some sort of education outside of the traditional educational system.
Okay.
And I already have backing from like a few different people who have established kind of self-made millionaires.
Yep.
They're committed to it. So
Awesome. Well,
it's exciting.
That's how we're ending today. Is I want you to get that pen on paper, and by the time this episode comes out, make sure that if you come up with like a working title name for it, get it to Lexi, because I want to drop that and I want to start promoting that for you. So Rick, man, thank you so much for coming. I appreciate the fact that we got to know each other a little bit better now. This is probably not the normal interview that you do, right? Especially on a D2D floor. But this is the shit that I think impacts people, and I think they'll get the most out of. So thank you for taking the time and sharing your story and what you're trying to do, okay?
Hell yeah. Thank you, Eric.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. And remember, be authentic or get the fuck out.
If you can't be authentic, get the fuck out if you can't be authentic. Get the fuck out if you can't be authentic. Yeah. Swipes.